Peace and blessings to everybody. So I have a spiritual message to bring to you today. The importance of preparing for what is coming ahead of us in 2026. So we are already halfway through 2025. In 2025, the year comes to the number 9. And so 9 is the number that deals with completion, with endings, right? So this is a very, very important year because this is the year where we need to be focusing on completing tasks, completing things that we may have started, being that this is a 9 year. This could be something that you began 9 years ago. It doesn't have to be. But this is very important because this is the year of completion of those things. Why? Because completing those things and doing the work is going to lay the foundation for you to be able to manifest new things as we move into the season of 2026. Now, I know some of you say, the Gregorian calendar is not accurate and we're really not in 2025. And that may be true, okay? But even if you look at what's going on astrologically, so we just had Neptune and Saturn has now moved into the sign of Aries. Now, before it moved into Aries, it was in the sign of Pisces this year, right? The energy of Pisces deals with the endings, right? Aries is the beginning, the baby, it's the head, and then Pisces deals with death and endings. So this is a year where we need to be focusing on completing cycles, even when you look at the astrological impact of things, right? Saturn being the planet, it deals with work, it deals with karma, it deals with duty and restriction because karma simply means duty. It means the work that we were set to do, the work that we agreed to do, right? That's karmic work. So because we were first starting out 2025 with both of these signs, were in Pisces, this year, there was still a need to bring completion to and bring ending to certain things. Now, if you're a person who's in flow with the vibration and frequency, and you tend to align well with that energy, you have already been putting in the work that you needed to. And I'm going to say this. If you haven't been doing the work that you were supposed to do, that you needed to do, if you've been procrastinating, if you've been deflecting and projecting and putting your head in the sand and not doing what you know you were supposed to or needed to do, waiting until now to try to get it all done, it's not going to work in your favor, okay? Let me just say that. So if you've been that person and you have not been doing those things, you're not going to like 2026. And why is that? Because 2026 is going to be a year where we can multiply energy. It's going to be a year that whatever you bring into 2026 will begin to take root, grow, and manifest over the next 9 years or the 9 cycles, 9 phases of the growth year. So a lot of us, I know me personally, I've been on this journey for a long time, but I experienced a Saturn opposition. So Saturn was opposite to my natal Saturn, and Saturn stays in one sign for 2.5 years. So I noticed how as Saturn opposed me in Pisces, I went through a very intensive 2.5 year cycle where I had to do a lot of work. Some of you may have even noticed because I began to step back from social media. I began to take on less clients because I needed that time, I needed that energy, and I needed that focus to apply inward to my own life. It was not an easy 2.5 years. I'm going to say that because when you're doing Saturn's work, when you're doing that karmic work, and I was put here to deal with some heavy shit, okay? Especially when we're talking about family and generational stuff, okay? So it was not an easy 2.5 years. It was not. But it was a 2.5 years where I really knuckled down and did the hard work and faced shadow things and dealt with the, how they say the things that you don't want to do, you kind of put them on the back burner. Well, I went in the back burner and got all that stuff done. Okay. And like I said, For those of us who have been diligent and have been doing our work, you may even begin to see the manifestation and the new growth of what's coming in 2026. You'll get a foreshadowing of it 2025, this second half of the year. For those of you who have been procrastinating a little bit, for those of you who have been self-medicating and avoiding your problems, avoiding your pain, avoiding your work because it's hard, it's difficult, and believe me, if you're watching me, you're probably here to deal with some serious shit, especially generationally and within your bloodline. It's time to knuckle down and do your work, people, okay? Because what is going to happen is a lot of people have been hearing about Earth raising this vibration and moving into the fifth dimension and going into a different cycle. But everybody's not going to make it there. Simultaneously, it's based on frequency, and the frequency and it's based on your level of consciousness. So a lot of people that are on Earth right now that still will be alive on Earth are going to still be living in those lower third and fourth dimensional realities, playing out a lot of heavy karmic cycles, okay, because they haven't been doing their work. A lot of people, when they're faced with the type of work that needs to be done within their bloodline and on the soul level, when we talk about spirituality and metaphysics, a lot of people want to deal with the lighter side of things, and they only want to do magic, and they only want to deal with spirituality when it's fun. And as soon as you start getting spiritually attacked, as soon as you start digging into those trenches of shadow work and start facing demons and things that are in your bloodline that you're here to fight and you're here to battle and overcome, when it's time to break generational curses and heal that deep ingrained generational trauma, some of you kind of shy away from that. I've met many people who eyes open, and they wake up and then they realize, it's not going to be all love and light and all funsies and crystals and kumbaya. They want to go back to sleep. And I've known people who have started the initiation process, and as soon as, the shit get real, they take down their altars, they take down their warriors, they take down their bovadas and different things that they've had set up, and they run back in the church or, run back to the mosque or whatever out of fear. And in all honesty, out of lack of fortitude, because in order to do this work, you're going to have to be resilient. You're going to have fortitude, and you're going to have some stamina, okay? But again, if you were drawn to this message, then you're on that path. Not to whom much is given, much is required. And I will say this, if you do the work, if you do the ancestral work, if you do the generational work and break those curses and those spells, the level of abundance, the level of joy and happiness that's on the other side of that is going to be fabulous, so to speak, okay? Just like Sister Myra Moss says, when we're talking about evolution, we evolve in a spiral. The universe that we're in is a spiral universe, okay? If you look at the golden ratio, what is that? It shows how creation goes. It's a spiral, right? So as low as you may have had to go in the spiral to go down and deal with the darker aspects of what needed to be healed, what needed to be transmuted, as far and as low as you have been is as high as you can go. In other words, for those of you who are talking about you want to get into the higher dimensions, right? Because there's dimensions higher than the 10th dimension. We have 11, 12, 13. There's dimensions much higher. In order to get into these higher levels, these higher dimensions, in order to even get to Kether, which is what we perceive to be the top, you have to go all the way down there to the lower dimensions, okay? You have to go into the lower part of Sifra, into the Kalipoth, and clear that. You have to ground yourself deep, okay? And past Malkuth, right? So we have to be willing to endure. We have to be willing to deal with the darkness and become the light. So if your experience has taken you to the depths of your pain, taken you to the depths of despair, and you faced it and overcame it and transmuted it, as you rise, you're going to rise higher. You're going to be able to go into those higher dimensions of frequency and reality and consciousness, okay? And bring that energy down and use it to manifest, okay, with. It is la land belief to think that you're going to just automatically go into the 11th dimension, but you haven't gone down there and visited our great ancestral root mother Mother Lilith, who sits at the bottom of the Sephira in the Qalipoth, okay? So you have to go into the depth to go into those higher levels of consciousness and those higher frequencies and vibrations. And that work has to be done. A lot of people, and some of my clients and just some of the people around me, you got work to do. You have things that you need to deal with, and you've been putting it off. And the consequences to that, oh my God, Saturn hands out consequences. So what has happened? Saturn moved out of dreamy, mystical, visualizing in your head Pisces, and has moved into Aries. Aries is all about starting new projects, taking action, being bold. What do they say? Fortune favors the bold. You know what I'm saying? You must be bold in your actions. You must be bold in the steps that you are taking. So take the rest of 2025 to do your work, whatever that may be for you. Everyone is not at the same place. Everybody has not been charged with doing the same thing. But if you know that there's a lot of healing that you need to do for your bloodline and for your ancestors, if you know there's a lot of trauma on a soul level that you need to deal with, if you know that you've been dealing with some serious spiritual attacks and you haven't gotten those out of control and you're not doing the spiritual work that you need to do so that you thrive and so that your descendants thrive, it is time to get back to work. Okay, it is time to get to work so that as 2026 comes in and we go into the spring of 2026, you'll be able to plant seeds, and those seeds will have the sustenance, it'll have the room, and it'll have the appropriate environment for you to grow new things and to recreate your reality on a higher level. Okay, a lot of people are going to be bringing in a lot of baggage from, that they haven't completed. And a lot of people, I'm going to tell you, they're a little bit behind in their manifestation and in their growth because they've gotten caught up in other things. They've gotten caught up in social media and, the fruitful part of spirituality where it's all love and light and I'm just going to play around with it and I'm going to seem conscious. A lot of people get stuck in the conscious movement and forget that there's work that you got to do. Okay. There's work that needs to be done. And if you don't know what work that you need to be doing during this time to prepare for 2026, it is time to sit down and look at your natal charts. It is time to do divination or get divination done so that you can get on task and so that you can do what needs to be done so that you don't have to continually to live in these negative karmic cycles that we've been playing out. I was talking to one of my kids the other day. I was explaining to them that the level of suffering and the level of karmic negative cycles that people will be living in starting and coming into the next couple of years will be their own doing. It will be because they didn't do their work. It's because they didn't heed the call. It's because instead of doing the work, they started to self-medicate and they started to ignore things and they disassociated from stuff and they projected it onto other people. And they, took down their altars and stopped doing their work and went back to church and went back into the opposite direction because it was too real and it was too intense and it challenged them. Okay. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen. Do your work, get it done, be consistent. You got another 6 months. So this is like spirit warning some of you. You got 6 months to get it together. You wanted to get it together before next spring, okay? Really important because that's the seed planting time. See, a lot of people don't understand. They're trying to do things in the wrong cycle, in the wrong energy. The energy oftentimes is not conducive to what people are trying to do. Next year is going to be a year of seeding, a year where you can start anew, a year where if you have a clean slate, you can go ahead and plant the seeds and they're going to manifest over the next 9 years. So, but just like when you plant anything outside, what do you have to do before you plant? You got to break ground. You got to clear the ground. You've got to dig the hole to put the seeds in. So a lot of people still need to clear spiritual ground in their life. They have too many attachments, too many people, and too many things, okay? Their hearts, and I was listening as I was preparing to do this video, I noticed that Summer Walker's song, Heart of a Woman, started playing. As I was writing down some of the astrological things. And I said, women have got to heal their heart, because we also have Jupiter, y'all. Jupiter's getting ready to move into Cancer on June the 9th. And Jupiter stays in one sign for 12 months. So it'll be there into June 30th of 2026. Now, Cancer rules the 4th house. The 4th house in astrology deals with family. It deals with your home. It deals with the energy of the mother. Okay. So this is a time where now we're looking at Saturn and Neptune. Neptune is spirituality. Neptune is creativity and divine love. That's the energy of Neptune. Neptune can also be self-deception, right? Where you put on the rose-colored glasses and, deceive oneself. Okay. But dreamy Neptune has moved into Aries, where it's time to take those dreams. It's time to take the spiritual knowledge and power that you have and take action. Aries is all about taking action, all about starting new projects and getting things done, okay? Being aggressive in that work. And it's in the same place as Saturn, and Saturn is about work. So Saturn has moved out of dreamy Pisces, which is co-ruled by Neptune, and moved into Aries, which is ruled by Mars, which says it's time to get that work done. It's time to be proactive in your work, and it's time to be bold in your actions. Don't be timid in the work that you need to do, because what we're dealing with is not weak. We're dealing with some serious shit on this planet, okay? And if you're watching me, you're dealing with some serious shit. You're dealing with some generational trauma, maybe even some generational curses that you need to break in your family. There may be demonic spirits and entities connected to your bloodline that you have to slay, that you have to battle, that you have to banish, okay? There may be soul level healing and work that you need to do. There may be certain karmic obligations that you have that you need to complete. There may be connections and ties to people, places, things, previous lovers that you need to clear in your energy. There may be a lot of cleansing that you need to do on a soul level. There may be a lot of cleansing as far as on a conscious level, clearing out old programs and beliefs, okay? There could be a number of things. It may be protective work that you need to do because of what you're here to do, or the environment that you're in. There may be a lot of spiritual attacks, a lot of negativity that you need to get a handle on, so that the things that are meant to grow and come to you and manifest in 2026 is able to. A lot of times people are wondering where their harvest is, or why are they stagnant, or why things aren't manifesting that they're putting out into the universe and it's not coming back to them. A lot of times it's because there's a lot of blockages. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of wounding, or maybe even curses and hexes and things, or negative energy that you may have absorbed that is blocking the manifestation of these things. And you can do all the money work, all the love work, all of the attraction work and manifestation work that you want to do. But if there's a frequency issue, and this is a paramount to the need to cleanse and the need to heal, because what will happen is all of your trauma, all of the wounds and whatever curses will lower your vibration. And so the love that you want to manifest in your life, or the career, or the level of success or prosperity or abundance, or the level of consciousness that you want to manifest in your life sits at a certain frequency, at a certain vibrational rate. And if you're not able to match that frequency, if you're not able to align with that frequency, then you're not going to be able to manifest that thing. Now, some people, that fake it till you make it mentality. So sometimes they're able to cloak themselves in an energy. And so they're able to fleetingly manifest some of the things they want, but just as soon as they manifest it, just as soon as it dissipates, okay? It's just a cloaking, okay? And the ability to ride other people's frequency is going to be harder as we move into 2026, because the vibration is only going to continue to get higher and stronger on Earth. And those lower dimensional frequencies allow that cloaking to happen. But you're really going to have to align with and match the frequency of what it is that you want in order to manifest it, in order to maintain what you manifest. Okay? Get your work done, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Get serious about it, whatever that may be. It's time to do the work, so that next year and moving forward for the next 9 years, you'll be able to plant seeds to grow your new reality how you see fit, okay? The universe is mental, is all is mind. So based on your level of consciousness, I'm going to tell you something, that a lot of the work that needs to be done has to do with one's consciousness, one's belief systems, and the subconscious mind, because people don't really realize just how much has been programmed and how many what they would call your story is programmed into the subconscious mind. And again, you can light all the candles you want, do all the rituals you want to, but if you don't believe it, and if the subconscious mind is in opposition to what it is that you're trying to manifest, you're not going to get it. So the need to really do a lot of mental healing, okay? This is to be a great time for a lot of meditation, working with certain crystals to help clear the mind and reprogram the mind, a lot of head cleansings. Your Reiki is going to be a very good tool. And like I said, just doing things to help you release and shift your energy. Lower vibrational entities and energies that may be attached to you. You need to free yourself from those things. It may be your environment. You may be an environment that you need to leave from. It could be work. It could be where you live. It could be who you're with. It could be a relationship that you're in that you keep going back to and the universe keep trying to free you from, but you just don't want to let it go. Whatever that is, it is time to let it go, do the work, and be consistent with it. We got 6 months, right, to prepare. We got 6 months to get it together. Let's make these 6 months count, okay? For those of you who need some support in the work that you need to do, or if you need to get a reading or consultation so you can get more insight and direction on exactly what needs to be done and what you need to focus on for these next 6 months, I'm doing a flash sale. So from today until tomorrow, midnight, 50% off everything on my website, including VIP services, okay? So, and I'm not going to extend this sale, y'all, because some of y'all like to be late. I'm doing this Oshun Day is today, for me at least. I don't know. Everybody has their own days to worship and work with these, venerate these deities. But for me, Friday is Oshun Day. And Oshun is generous, okay? So she's saying some of these people might need a little help, okay? Because some of y'all got a lot of work I need to do. Y'all been letting it back up. So whatever it is, whether you need a little help doing the work, whether you need some insight and readings on what needs to be done, okay, some Reiki, some cleansing, whatever that is, reach out to me, www.enchanteddivas.com, 50% off the entire website. The discount code is PREPARE, okay? And I chose that specifically because we got to get prepared, okay? You want to prepare so that next year, you can plant the seeds and watch them manifest and grow and begin to draw in the new things that you've been working on, the things that you've been putting in, that hard work over these past couple of years. If you haven't already started seeing them manifest now, next year you will, but do your work. All right, peace.